Hello, hello! Welcome on in to today's workout. So today we have a B workout of the ABCs of fitness. B is build that base. So it's all about lower body strengthening today. We have a focus today on glutes and outer hips. In terms of equipment today, what you need are some dumbbells. By all means, if you have some slightly heavier ones, slightly lighter ones, grab out your various options so that you can just adjust where, depending on how you're finding the exercise, knowing you can hold two weights, you can always hold one weight end to end across the middle, or there's always the option of body weight only. And please remember, you can always use household items such as 2-litre bottles of water or something like that. A mini loop resistance band. This is always additional extra. If you have one, great. Please don't worry if you don't have one. Continue doing the exercise, squeezing the muscles in the way that I described, and you will get loads of great work from the exercise, even if you don't have a band. Sorry, I showed you two bands. One band is fine. Sometimes they come in sets. You can always double up your bands if you want more resistance. Something to use as your fitness step here, the side of a sofa or the side of a coffee table would be perfect. We're using it for a hip thrust movement today. And then some water on hand just to sip as and when you need throughout the workout. There are water breaks built through the structure of the workout. We have 3 circuits to get through. Each circuit has 3 moves within it. We're going to try and do the first 2 circuits 3 times through each, and then the final circuit twice through as our finisher on the end. Okay, having said that, hop on up, come on back to your mat. Let's get moving. Feel free to hold onto the side, onto the wall or an item of furniture here as we start with our hip cars, our controlled articular rotations around the hip socket. We're lifting, opening out to the side, and then internally rotating the hip joint as we come down. Nice and slow and controlled with core support, doing your best to keep your hip bones, your rib cage square to the front. Nicely done. Same on the other side. So abdominals anchoring in, using your hip muscles to work with control here. So you're not just sort of swinging, you are in control. Control movements, trying to create the biggest range of motion in that ball and socket joint of the hip that you can access. Oop, little wobble there, that's all right. One more on this side, fantastic. Down you come. So a little quarter squat with the legs, keep that squat shape, zip up your core, and we're coming here. So out and in, an abduction, think like a doggy against a tree movement pattern here. And the idea here is to fire up and wake up and warm up the glutes and the side hip. So as you reach to the top point with that leg, clench or squeeze or fire up or firm up your side glute here. Nice. Doing your best not to lean away as you lift the leg. Ease to the top point one more time. Lovely. Keep that little quarter squat, zip up your core, and same on the other side. And just be aware here that we want our toes pretty much facing the front as you go through the movement pattern, and you're looking for the front knee not to be buckled in. We don't want it to buckle in as we do the movement pattern. So feeling solid, strong, engaged with your support leg as well. Good, easing up and out for a glute squeeze at the top there. Last couple to balance the sides. Nice job, lovely. We're going to open the hips slightly, down into a squat, take it around to a rotation. Squat and rotate, just gradually building your pace. Do start slowly, particularly if you've been quite static for the day before you've hopped up into this workout. Start slowly and gradually build the pace, gradually build your bigger movement patterns, bigger ranges of movement as you warm up. Keep going with the squat. We're going to take a side bend next, lovely. As you squat here, imagine you're sitting backward onto a sofa, seeking out a sofa with your glutes behind you. So bottom sits right backward. Glue all 4 corners of your feet into the floor. Really ensure your heels are glued down. Good, and again, last couple, fabulous. From here, we're going to take a big X shape or star shape. I'll go side onto you here. A hinge of the legs back. And then opposite hand to opposite foot, come on forward. Hinge the hips back. Opposite hand to opposite foot, come forward. And keep that going, keep that flowing from one side side to the other. Good. So the idea here is to work with a long, flat back as you send the hips backward, seeking out a bit of a stretch in the back of your leg at the back part of the move. So it's a nice dynamic warm-up for the hamstrings here, taking them through to a stretch, then through to a neutral. Lovely. Last couple here. Fabulous. And finally, up you come. Fantastic. We're just going to do something where we bend in the knees a little more, coming down into a lunge. One side, then the other. Do whatever comes naturally with your arms here. Ease your way down into your lunge. So there's no free fall, there's no drop into the lunge. You are muscularly connected to your front leg and glute. And you want the whole foot rooted into the ground in the front foot, not just in the balls of the toes in the front foot. Lovely. And again, last couple here to finish the lunges. And then up you come. And give it all a bit of a shake through. So hopefully body feeling a bit warmer. You know, heart rate up, blood whizzing around the body, legs are feeling warmer, and the joints, knees, ankles and hips have all been mobilised, ready to go. So what I'm going to do here is just set up my step so it is at the ready, because we'll need it in our first circuit. So I'm just going to scoot that round there, ready for the hip thrust move, which we'll have in the first circuit. Okay, we're starting today with a mini loop band on up around the knees. Do not worry if you don't have a mini loop band, you can absolutely just go through this movement without the band. We are working through to a count of 45 seconds on and 15 seconds rest. I'm just getting our timer ready here. And I will guide and coach you through each exercise, demonstrating as I go. Starting with a squat shape of one side of your mat. Down you sit into a squat. 3 crab walks across. 3 squat pulses. 3 crab walks across. 3 squat pulses. Nice. Keeping that going, keeping that flowing. Now check with your foot position, particularly as you do the crab walks. The toes are pretty much square to the front. These pulses here, we want to feel the legs engage, so we want to feel the legs sort of push you up, maybe a third to a quarter of the movement pattern, i.e. they're not tiny little bouncers at the bottom. Nearly there. Last 3 seconds. Nice. And up you come for a rest. Okay, legs are shake. Keep your band on if you can, in fact throughout all 3 exercises within this circuit. Keeping your dumbbells if you can, 2 dumbbells. Option is always there for 1 dumbbell. It's squats. So just regular squats. Nothing weird or wacky about these. Practice them in the warm-up. Down we sit with our bottom as if we're sitting onto a sofa behind you. In fact, if you've got your step, your coffee table, your sofa set up, you could even do your squats like so, where you're sitting backward. Now we have the addition of the band resistance if you are using a band. And the idea is to use the fact we have the band by opening at the hips and driving your knees broad, outwardly, laterally wide against your band. Control the descent in the squat, opening the hips as you do so with nice broad knees at the bottom of your squat. Lovely job. Good, up you come. From there, we're coming down so that your bottom's on the floor just in front of your step. Could be side of sofa, side of coffee table. From here, we're going to put our back against the step, shoulder blades above.
Let's go.
From here, potentially, dumbbells on the hips. You could use 1 dumbbell centrally across the hips. You could use 2 dumbbells, 1 in kind of the crook of the hip on each side. We're rooting to our heels to drive our hips up. Hips to the height of the knees. Hips down, hips up. As we come down with the hips, you come forward with the chest. And as you come up with the hips, at the top of the move, you do a bum cheek squeeze, a glute squeeze. Full of purpose with that glute squeeze. Ideally, chin to chest. And I know that means you have to use your own neck muscles to hold the weight of your own head. Over time, the neck muscles will get stronger for that. Nice job. Gently down you come. If you were using dumbbells to the side, please remember you could be doing that move without dumbbells. to take the resistance level down. We make our way back to the start. Dumbbells if you can.
Let's go.
Broad frame of chest and shoulders. We've got our 3 crab walks and then our 3 squat pulses. 3 crab walks, nice. Driving out from your hip and your heel, your outer hip and your heel. So drive out against that band, drive out, nice. And so it goes. Squatting, and again with the idea of the open hips and broad knees, nice. Trying to stay as squat-like as you can. What I mean, I'll show you here, is get your bottom to sit down rather than finding yourself bending forward like this. Get those knees bending to get down in your squat shape. Here come those beeps. Nice. Yep, and so up you come, perfect. So onwards we move into the regular squat. So again, you could still be with your 2 dumbbells. Remember your option of having 1 dumbbell across the middle or body weight only. All right, so from there, sitting back in your squat as if you are seeking out the sofa behind you or the step behind you with your glutes. Push bottom backward. We're doing our squat in a way that targets the glutes mostly today. So this idea of push bottom back quite purposefully in order to target those glutes. It almost feels like you're sort of stretching your muscle fibers to the skin at the back of your bottom. Down with control, keeping them as fluid as you can, but do control the descent as if you're putting the brakes on to lower yourself down. Nicely done. Okay, good stuff. So down toward the floor you come. With your back against what you're using as your step, shoulder blades above the step, everything south of the shoulder blades beneath the step.
Let's go.
Rooting into the heels. So just have a look at my position here. The knee is vertically above the ankle at the top of the move. So you end up with a vertical shin, and that's how you know that your legs are not too far forward nor too close in. All right, so the vertical shin with knee above ankle.
Halfway there.
Glute squeeze at the top. And again, just reiterating, you could be using 2 dumbbells in the crooks of your hips. You could be using 1 dumbbell across the middle of your hip bones or body weight only. Importantly, you want to tuck your tailbone under at the top of the move with a glute squeeze, bum cheek squeeze at the top.
Rest.
Nice. 2 rounds down and 1 to go of our first circuit. So please keep the pace as the pace that's appropriate for you. Same with your weight selection. Broad chest. Down you sit into the squat. 3 crab walks, driving outwardly against your band. 3 squat pulses with broad knees and open hips. Always, I think, better to do really thorough movements with control and good muscular connection than lots of movements done in a rushed way. So thinking about that connection to muscles to keep them effective, even if you think you could go faster. We don't want to rush. This isn't HIIT training. We want to connect to the muscles, and sometimes going slower makes that more effective. Keep the toe facing the front as you crab walk across. Squat, sit that bottom back. Nice job.
Rest.
And become good. So legs should feel pretty birdie by the end of that. A breath or 2. We have our regular squat. So it could be 2 dumbbells. It could be the 1 dumbbell held across the chest. It could be body weight only.
Let's go.
Broad chest. Down your squat. Backwards with your bottom. And then you push up nice and strongly. Doing your best not to round your shoulders or round your upper back. Broad shoulders, broad chest. Bottom sits back. Opening the hips, almost corkscrewing out the hips as you descend with broad knees to accompany that. Check in tummy muscles, don't feel like they are straining outwardly. You want to zip up or anchor in your lower tummy muscles, gluing all 4 corners of your feet into the ground. So the heels glue down and you claw at the ground with ball of big toe, ball of little toe. Nice. And a rest from that. So that one is done, it's ticked off the list. Down we come to finish our circuit with our hip thrust on the end. So you could have your dumbbells in the crook of the hips, slightly downwardly sloping, one on each side. You could have one dumbbell across the middle of your hip bones, or you could be body weight only. Remember the idea of that vertical shin, knee above ankle at the top of the move. And again, glutes squeeze strongly at the top. The rib cage tucks down and forwards into the front pockets of the body. Chin to chest, ideally, meaning your neck muscles have to work, I know they do. And just with your weight, keep it vertically above the glute. Don't roll it down your thigh, don't let it roll up your tummy. Your weight, if you're using weight, should be vertically above your bum cheeks, above your glutes. Glute squeeze at the top.
Rest.
Nice work. And done. So during the next countdown timer on our clock here, we are just resting. So just some water, catching the breath.
Let's go.
Just resting here. Okay, lovely. So in an ideal world, we want a little bit of movement in our rest point. We are actually going to keep our band if we can here, and we're actually going to keep the band and bring it down around the feet. Around the ankles, maybe I should say. So, just in the rest point, just sort of keep moving. The idea of that is to help flush through some lactic acid rather than letting it cool, and then the muscles feel a bit stiff when you get going again. So, in a second, we are starting our next circuit. We have 3 moves to do, and we'll be starting with banded side to side steps. So 15 seconds till go time. The resistance this time is going sort of outwardly. So you can add dumbbells if you want to, but they won't add much to the resistance of what's going on in the legs. Okay, here we go. So essentially what I'm saying is there's not much point in the dumbbells. It will just be arms and shoulders that are kind of working to hold them. Nice. So here we are, driving side to side, side to side. Core muscles zipping up. Think about zipping up from pubic bone to belly button. The knees here are just off lock. They are not poker straight. I'll just sort of show you side on. The knees are just off lock. The toes face the front. The toes could even be the tiniest bit pigeon-toed, the tiniest bit inturned, and that's just going to target those muscles of gluteus medius and outer hips, even more so. Nice job, lovely, okay. We are going to wiggle out of the band, so if you have your band, gently wiggle that off the feet, keep it on hand for the second round. We're going to do a rotational RDL. So, 1 foot, a pigeon step in front of the other. Back toe at hip width, broad chest. Hinge the hips back. As you do so, bring your dumbbells to one side of the front foot, to the outside of the front foot. So hips hinge back, directly backward. The body, the torso, has a little bit of rotation to do. Nice. The idea here is you get a stretch around the glute and the outer glute specifically, the outer hip and the outer glute, as you work through the exercise. Lighten the back toe, the body weight digs into the heel of the front foot. Lovely. And so same on the other side. So I know that's a little bit technique-y. Go slowly with core support and broad frame. 1 foot, a pigeon step in front of the other. The back toe out at hip width, broad chest. Send the hips backward as you do so, coming down and to the outside of the front foot. This should produce a bit of like a kind of tension, the stretch in the glute and the outer hip of the front leg, and potentially a bit of the hamstring, a bit of the back leg.
Halfway there.
So the hips is sent directly backward and the torso rotates. Keep the core muscles, the abdominal muscles anchored in or zipped up or engaged to provide support in the torso. Light on your back toe. The body weight is glued into the heel of your front foot. Nice. Well done. Okay. Having given that a go, if for some reason that does not work for your body, Just go for the directly back and forth without the rotation. Okay, band comes back on. We find our way back to the start. So wriggling that band on just above the ankles, broad chest, zip up core, side to side step. So joining me as soon as you're ready with that band. Driving out and driving out. The idea as you drive out is to sort of feel like the outer hip and outer glute are leading this movement pattern. Drive out from hip and heel. Good, with the zip up from pubic bone to belly button. The idea of the two sides of the abs wrapping to the midline. Broad chest, shoulders open and down, i.e. don't shrug your shoulders up with tension up in the upper body. Sticking with it as fluidly as you can, with as big a strides as you can against your band. Lovely, tough stuff. It's a builder, it's a burner, it's a biter. Gently down with the band, off from around the feet, and we're going to stretch out the area of muscle that's just been contracting.
Let's go.
One foot in front of the other, a pigeon step. Out with the back toe at hip width. Hinge the hips back. Add the rotation smoothly. So the rotation occurs as you hinge the hips back, not at the top and not at the bottom, just sort of as you hinge the hips back. The hips go back directly backward, and it is the torso that has that rotational work. Keep thinking light on the back toe, light on the back toe. Body weight digs into the heel of the front foot. Hips directly back, and then glue into the heel of the front foot for hips directly forward. Abdominal secure, broad chest. Nice. Up you come. Good. So, as we come through to the second round of these, just being aware that your dumbbells do not need to touch the ground. That is not the aim of the move. The aim of the move is to feel a good old stretch around the glute, side, hip and back of leg, while maintaining a long, flat spine, i.e. the back doesn't round. It rotates, it twists here, but we don't want a rounding back. So think about sending your hips back and creating a long, flat back, with tummy muscles zipped up or anchored in.
Halfway there.
Glue your body weight into the heel of the front foot as you come forward with the hips. As you send the hips back, an idea of descend your body weight into the heel of the front foot. Sending the hips directly backward, taking that rotation if the rotation is comfortable for you and your spine and your back. Nice, up we come, superb. So the purpose of that move is to stretch and extend the area of muscle that has been contracting and shortening in some of the previous exercises. Band goes back on.
Let's go.
Okay, band around the ankles, side to side, side to side. Good, zipping up the core. Well done you. Now check in the midsection. We're not floppy. We're not slack. We are anchored in like there's a belt of muscular support between hips and ribs. So we are working on core stability, hips, ribs square to the front and level with the floor as you go through the move. Breathe stride into your band, stretch it. Obviously, this is if you have a band, please just work through the movement without a band if you don't have a band in the best way that you can. We're nearly through. Toes square to the front. Keep anchoring in those lower tummy muscles. Here are those beats.
Rest.
Lovely job. The band comes off, and we have our final round of those rotational single-legged RDLs. RDL is Romanian deadlift. One foot in front of the other. Back toe, hip width, broad chest. Send the hips backward. As you do so, that little rotation of the torso, glue the body weight into the front heel. Drive the muscles, the muscle fibers of your glutes to the skin at the back of your bottom and around the sort of outside of your bottom here. So you're stretching out and sort of splaying the muscle fibers into all of this area, and indeed the back of the leg is going into a little bit of a stretch as well. So it's good mobility work. We're building strength when the muscles and the tissues there are in an extended position. Super job.
Rest.
Perfect. Nice. The same on the other side. There is of course some work in the torso here as we have the rotation, so to feel sort of like the waist, the back, I would expect. One foot just behind the other, feet at hip width, broad chest, zip up core. Hinge the hips directly backward, add the rotation if that's feeling okay for you, for your body. Obviously if twisting is no good for you, for your back, then just go straight. Just keep it straight without a rotation. So we are trying to drive and stretch the muscles of the glutes and the outer hips and the back of the leg into an extension, into this sensation of a weighted stretch, stretching out the muscle fibers to be stretching against the skin at the back and the sides of your bottom. That's the analogy I like to think of when I do this move. Keep the broad chest and long flat spine. Nicely done. Perfect. And the weights come down. Fabulous. During the next countdown timer on the clock, we are just resting. So just catching the breath, grabbing some water.
Let's go.
Fantastic. Again, you can sort of just keep it moving during the rest period to help flush out some lactic acid. I'm just going to move the step to the side because we don't need that in our final round. Nor do we need dumbbells. So dumbbells to the side as well. All right. So our final circuit is 3 exercises we're going to try and do twice through. It's our finisher round. So we are using the same muscles as we've been targeting throughout the workout. So, one more time through with these exercises.
Rest.
We are starting with a donkey kick. So this is an all-fours shape. Big spread fingers, you can always be holding the dumbbells if you don't like your hands flat on the floor. From here, core zips up, and we are driving your heel to the ceiling of the pushing leg. Driving heel to ceiling of the pushing leg. And when you get to your sort of full stretch of your band, squeeze your glute of your pushing leg. So you're trying to tighten, contract, connect with, squeeze the glute of the pushing leg. At that point, have a little pause at the top of the move, but otherwise keep them quite fluid. Abdominals anchor inward or zip upward.
10 seconds.
Anchoring your lower tummy upward toward your lower back. Full of purpose in that drive upward. Nice.
Rest.
Maybe there's a little child's pose in the rest in between, again to stretch out some of the muscle fibers around the glutes that we've just been contracting. So it's exactly the same on the other side. So again, hands on the ground, big spread fingers.
Let's go.
Core muscles zip up. And I've just flipped round so I can be showing you the other side. So driving the heel to the ceiling. Think of it as a vertically upward move, more so than a backward push. Driving vertically upward. Sort of being patient about keep going, to really fully stretch your band. At the top of the push, a squeeze of your glute of the pushing leg. So trying to engage with or clench or tense up or squeeze the glute of the pushing side. As you drive upward, you're doing your best not to let the lower back sort of arch down. So secure tummy muscles underneath you.
Rest.
Lovely job. Okay. Keeping the band on if you can, but you can absolutely lose the band and wriggle it off if this is too tough with the band. We're coming down to side lying. Up on the forearm, core secure. Raise the lower leg about a foot off the floor. So it's hip width, hip height off the floor. Bend, forward kick, bend, down to the start. Bend, forward kick, bend, down to the start. And so it goes. Lovely. Just keeping that moving. Good job. Always keeping the leg at hip height.
Halfway
All
there.
we're doing here is swiveling round. And the same on the other side. Good. So the tummy muscles actively zip up or anchor in. Nicely done. Lifting, pushing forward, down to the base. Up, kick forward, good, down to the base. And so it goes. Fantastic. Again, maybe And we are doing the same trio last time through.
Let's go.
So all four shape, core zips up, driving strongly against your band resistance, pushing with purpose to the top. Think of having a brick on the sole of your foot, and you're trying to push this brick to be flush against the ceiling. So your toe is pulling toward your shin. Strong shoulders here.
Halfway there.
Keep going on the one side. So the shoulder blades should kind of be spreading in your back, and the shoulder blades should not be pinching together. So just check you separated or spread your shoulder blades. It kind of feels like you're pushing the ground away with your upper body. Keep going all on that side with the donkey kick. Squeeze up the glute at the top. Nice job. And so same on the other side then. So again, all four shape, big spread fingers, spread the load through all the finger pads in your wrists. If you don't like it, it can be on fists or holding your dumbbells. Core zipping up.
Let's go.
Same on the other side in the donkey kick. Yeah, reset your band if you find it rolls. Some bands are better than others. Abdominal secure. Squeezing to the top point. Trying to get a clench of your bum cheek of your pushing leg at the top of the move. So consciously having a split second of pause at the top to try and engage with that pushing leg glute. Now the support leg glute will probably be feeling quite a lot of work as well, because it has to provide the equal and opposite force to keep the band anchored in place. So both glutes are working. Nearly there. Here come those leaps.
Rest.
Lovely, and again a sit back. Superb. So you could wiggle out of band, you could keep the band. We're coming down to a side lying. You could be up like so. You could choose to come down like so. That positioning in the upper body isn't going to affect the move too much at all. So the foot is lifted at hip height off the floor. The abdominals are anchoring in or zipping up with purpose. We are bending to pull the knee up to like 90 degrees, extending the leg in front of you. Keep going till the beep.
Halfway
Nice,
there.
and then a quick swivel round. That's it. And same on the other side. Well done. So some of these things are just sort of, quick and snappy because we only have a half-hour workout here. So we're trying to make the most of our half an hour. Keep going with your core. Perfect job. Yeah, lovely. And you are there. Release the leg down. Wriggle out of your band if you've been using a band. All the hard work of the workout is done. Good job you. Well done you. You've done it. Please do stay with me for a couple of minutes to stretch out the muscles that you've been working so hard on, to look after the body so that you don't get chronically tight over time. We don't want that. So from here, we're going to lay out long. We're going to scoop up the knees with the hands into a knee to chest hug. And from here, feel free to add a little bit of a rock from side to side or forward and backward. Just a little bit of freestyle movement. Fabulous. Okay, left foot down and right foot elevates up to the ceiling. It's the back of leg stretch, the hamstring stretch, back of the thigh. So wrapping the hands around the back of the thigh or the back of the calf, draw the leg towards you with a little bit of the arm strength. Ease the heel of your foot upward, yet keep your tailbone down. And just keep that breath flowing. Well done. So we want our post-workout stretches to be 20 to 30 seconds for them to have the desired effect of stretching out the muscle fibre. Lovely. Same leg, one more stretch here. We're going to go down so that the foot is across the opposite thigh, the ankle over the knee. And then encourage the other leg outwardly or the other knee outwardly. And then if you want more from the stretch, you can draw this leg off the floor, so it will be the left leg off the floor. And you can hug that left thigh towards you, hands wrapping around back of thigh or front of shin. Good job here. So we're trying to get a stretch in the outer hip, outer glute, deep glute piriformis muscle of the right leg, so the leg that's crossed over the top. Well done. Using your arm strength almost to sort of compress the legs toward the body. Well done. And again, just being patient to have long enough in our stretch for it to be effective. Super work. Gently down with that side. And we're going to swap and do the same duo on the other side. So left leg up, hand wrapping around the back of the thigh or the back of the calf on the left leg, using the arm strength to pull the leg towards you, to feel a good old stretch in the back of the leg. Maybe you work towards having a slightly straighter knee, but the knee never needs to be poker straight. We're just going to where you feel a good old stretch. And ease the heel up, keep your tailbone down, keep your bottom down. Fabulous. Keep that breath flowing. A couple more breaths. Fantastic. And so same leg, second stretch, foot across the opposite thigh, the ankle across the knee. Encourage the knee outwardly in this sort of figure of four type shape. And then if you want more, you can wrap the hands around the back of the thigh or the front of the shin on the right side and draw the legs towards you with a little bit of arm strength. Still encouraging the knee out, the left leg, the left knee outwardly slightly. Good. Keep that breath flowing, particularly if the stretch is quite tight. You definitely want to keep the breath flowing and not find out that you're holding the breath. Nice long exhale. And one more breath in this stretch. Lovely job. Gently release the legs back to the floor, roll or push yourself up. And actually we're going to come all the way up. Do come up slowly, do come up gradually if you think you're going to get dizzy or a head rush. Last stretch then here, heel in towards your bottom, pulling your heel in tightly there to find the stretch in the front of the leg, and just keeping the knee beneath the hip rather than out to the side. Holding on if you need to for balance, of course. Well done you. Nearly there now, final stretch, and then you'll be done, ready to move onwards into your day, hopefully feeling a little bit more energized and sort of proud of yourself and accomplished for spending this time working on you, working on your strength. Fantastic. Good job. So last second here in the second leg of this stretch. The leg comes down and you are done. So you've done it, you made it through. I am super proud of you, well done. And thank you for joining me. Let me know how you got on. It's wonderful to hear that you're doing the workouts and you're enjoying them, or any feedback at all. And have a wonderful day onwards from here. Join me again soon. Bye bye.